Basically, there's a raise hand feature at the bottom that we'll have people ask questions for. But for now, I'm just going to introduce Ken. So basically, yeah, we are talking about the waiting room today. So what writers should do while waiting. So yeah, Ken has been working in production as well as in publishing for a long time and has kind of seen the ins and outs of different timelines. So it is very different for everyone, um, and it can apply to all kinds of writers, whether you're a screenwriter or a book writer, or if you're trying to get into either one of those. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna have Ken do his spiel first, and then yeah, we'll have people use the raise hand feature, and then I'll allow people to speak in this new format. We apologize. Thank you all for your cooperation as we're figuring this out. But I'm gonna let Ken go ahead.
Thanks, Charlotte. Thanks for doing a great job of organizing as usual. And yeah, I think the whole format of Zoom suddenly changed this morning, so we don't see you the way we normally would. But I can see that you're there, and the host has asked you to start your video. I don't know what that means. Start my video. Okay. What
Is
else?
this okay?
My technical consultant just arrived again.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I think everybody's there. You just can't see them unless you
Yeah,
push.
it's like a webinar format.
Yeah.
So on webinars, you can't see anyone unless you
So
ask them to speak.
yeah, let's just try this format this time and we
Yeah.
can switch
Yeah,
back.
well, it's nice to have everyone talking. So this is just a new thing we have.
We can switch back next time, but let's
Yeah.
just keep going. Can
Yeah.
everybody see Ken?
Yes, if people, let's see. Yeah, if people are raising their hand to say they can see, that's
Okay.
the
Good.
way they can
Hey,
communicate,
sorry
unfortunately.
about that. Yeah, it's one of the greatest challenges of being in the creative business is waiting. And I learned long ago that you shouldn't be waiting at all. You need to understand that your project, whatever it is, and whatever stage it's at, has a clock of its own, and the clock is ticking. And when the time comes for it to manifest itself in its next stage, it will happen as long as things are being done to keep it moving along, which is what we do and what you do as a writer. In the meantime, waiting for anything is a complete waste of time. So, again, a career comes down to time management. And the time management uh, dictates that you cannot manage anything infinite, and you can only manage things that are finite. And the work you put into something, the work you do, is finite, and you can manage it, but you can't manage powers and elements beyond your control. And that's what happens when a project goes into the marketing stage, is it is buffeted by forces beyond your control, and all you can do is something that you can manage, and you can't manage that. So what you can manage is doing something different. So one of the things I'd like to do today is find out what you guys are doing to manage your time when something is in a stage beyond your control. What I do is I work on a different project, obviously, or I work on a book, for example. That's why I've written almost 30 books, because I had time in the waiting room to do this, and it's not frustrating. It's kind of exhilarating when you take charge of your time like that and start doing it, and it also releases the pressure that builds up between you and the project you are so-called waiting for. Um, So let's talk about that. I'd appreciate it if you would raise your hand and give us ideas of what you do while you're waiting uh, to keep yourself sane and any questions you have about that whole process.
Yeah, so I see some raised hands, so I'm just gonna go ahead and yeah, list names and allow you to speak. And we're just gonna work on this technically together, but it should I'm gonna pick Linda first. I'm gonna allow you to speak.
Hey, Linda, how you doing?
Hi, Linda. Your video and your audio are off. But oh, sorry. Let's see.
Did that work?
Yes, I can hear you
Okay.
now.
I just got my author's copies for my newest book, The Sword and the Stone, yesterday, and it's with a British press called Amberley. And I'm really excited because instead of sending me five like they usually do, they sent me 10. And I don't know if that means the book's got good pre-sales or what. Their marketing departments contacted me and they're trying to set up book signings and speeches. And they also have a podcast set up for me. That's one of the things I've been doing about various books that I've written lately is getting on podcasts. And these people have audiences in the thousands. So it's good exposure for the books that I've written.
Great. Congratulations on getting to that stage. That book sounds very exciting. I'd love to read it myself. Um, so what are you doing with your copies?
Um, I am taking one to my church because a lot of people in my church I've been talking to them about it. I'm keeping one for my private collection. I keep one book for my private collection of everything I write. And then I'm trying to get the marketing department with these book signings and stuff. I'm going to take the books to the book signings and sell them myself rather than trying to just go through the bookstores. We'll see how well that works. And on the speeches that aren't at a bookstore, that are at libraries and different groups, book clubs and stuff like that, I'm going to take them there and try to sell them. See how that works. And it worked pretty good for my book, Artorias. I sold all the copies and had to buy some more. Um, and the other thing I do when I'm waiting is like you, I try to work on another project. I'm still trying to get that animated series of Dragonheart done. I'm trying to get my Italian friend that did the Good Dragon to remove the saddle and get the rider sitting in the right position. If we can manage that, I'll send it to Toby. Um, but I've got some uh, good footage of like dragons flying over sand dunes and medieval cities and things like that that go with the book, and then I'll string them all together. And hopefully, I think he said a minute long for the movie. I can't remember. Um, but I'm working on the different projects, and I'm out on
Great.
Facebook a lot. So.
Congratulations. Linda's an example of an indefatigable writer who never stops, regardless of the hardships she's going through in life. She plugs away and has, how many books now do you have?
I've got four with you, and I've got three nonfiction books, one of which has been in constant print for 32 years. And I've got tons of books where I've written like a chapter in them or an article or academic papers that have been published in proceedings of books, things like that. And I've kind of lost count. Takes up a whole shelf now.
And that's amazing. It's an admirable career, and I hope you have some satisfaction despite the frustrations when a new book arrives. Tell us about that.
I'm sorry. I'm getting
I
a
said I
internet
hope
connection
I hope
unstable.
you experience satisfaction when a new book arrives and you have it in your hands at last.
Oh yeah, I take pictures of it and immediate post to Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel. I've lined up two YouTube interviews. It's really exciting when the book I actually have it in my hand after what has it been, 2, 3 years, something like that.
Exactly. Well, congratulations again, and
Thank
keep us
you.
posted. Yeah, we're
Will do.
plugging away at the Dragons trilogy, and
Yeah.
it's just a matter
It's
of
actually
getting the
four
right.
books now. I'm working on the fifth, but we'll see. I'm also
Yeah,
writing a
fabulous,
werewolf novel. So
fabulous. Keep up the good work.
thank you.
Yes, thank
Anybody
you.
else?
Yes, I'm going to call on Kevin. Let's, I will allow you to speak, and then you can unmute as well.
Hey guys, can you hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Brilliant. Okay, so yeah, what do I do when I'm in the waiting stage? Yeah, it stinks. However, you just start another script, you start another story. I'm at the pinnacle point where my latest script, I've completely not only have finished it, but I am emotionally detached from it now. I feel like I have surpassed that, the many drafts. I think it's done, it's solid. There is no other way I wish to tell this story, even if I do get criticism about it. I think at this point I'm ready to move on. It is what it is, and you start another draft or start a new script, I mean. And I'm in that process now of literally coming together with a new story, dealing with, the theme, the log line. I'm not typing yet, but I'm just putting together the essentials where when I do decide to start writing, it starts to flow because I have an outline. I have all my tools together and whatnot. And that's what I do. I mean, between that and volunteering in festivals to read people's scripts or, just keeping my mind busy. So, like a trained fighter, except, being a trained writer, you gotta keep doing it or else it's just going to evaporate. And no matter how good you think you might be, you're never as good as you are when you are not training. So, I think that's essential, and there's not much else to say about it. I mean, we're all talented people, so
So, what else are you working on?
the next script I'm working on is it's about someone who is living with HIV and has been living with HIV for several years. However, he has been reliant on the government assistance for his survival. So while he is an immensely healthy person because of medication and whatnot, he is on the road to losing his home now because he believes he is unable or he can't survive without his medical insurance, which is being government supplemented. And he has OCD and he's very good with numbers. So
He's very good with what?
with numbers.
Mhm.
And it kind of has, an obsessive compulsive issue going on, which is the main cusp of how he got HIV and so forth. So it's less about the disease, it's less about, um, the fact that he's about to lose his home and whatnot. And it's more about the character breakdown of what he is and how he has got into his situation and how he's unable to break his tendencies.
Okay, great. So you're fully occupied with that.
I mean, yes, at this point I am. Like I said, the last script, it's done. I do. It's not that I don't want to touch it. I'm ready to move on. I've
Yeah,
written it so many times, and I even have shrunk it down to it was at 102, and then now it's down to 86 pages. I think I've
great,
done all I can.
great. Well, good luck with it.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Anybody else?
Great. Thank you, Kevin. Okay, I know Bob, you had a hand up, so I will bring you up. Then
Hey, Bob.
Hi there. Can
Bob's a
you?
great Bob's a great example of somebody who knows what to do in the waiting room. He just
Uh,
generates another story and or does something.
well, thank you for saying that, Ken. Yes, I was very fortunate to connect with Ken a few years back, and he shepherded me through my first novel, The Cloud. And one of the first things he did once he got me through the editing process, and he was quite tough on me, which I appreciated, was he said, you really need to expand this into a trilogy because it's a speculative fiction novel. And he said, there's every reason to believe we can turn this into a franchise, a film franchise. So I took him at his word. In 2025, I finished novel two in the Cloud trilogy. I am working with a top science fiction editor to get it whipped into shape. And in the meantime, since I myself have worked in advertising and marketing for over 20 years, I took advantage of the marketing tools that Ken brings to the table. So, I worked with Ken's colleague who took my novel to number one Amazon International bestseller, and it's still number one Amazon International bestseller. Secondly, Ken connected me with Devin Blaine, the CEO of the Blaine Group, which is one of Beverly Hills' top PR firms, and has worked with Ken for decades. And I've been working with them for about 3.5 years. And the Blaine Group got me a plethora of both print, digital, and podcast appearances, which helped enormously. And so I recommend both of those. If you're serious about expanding your readership and increasing the number of reviews that you get on Amazon and Goodreads and other places. And also, a lot of the reviewers out there have their own landing pages on social media. And my novel is very popular with Gen Z women. 70% of my readers are Gen Z women. So I have got big followings on TikTok and Instagram. And so, oh, and I should also mention that in the interim, I also co-wrote a historical series called Theodora. It's based on the true story of Empress Theodora, the most powerful Roman empress in history. I co-wrote it with another writer, Elizabeth Rocket. So at this point, we have a pitch book, we have the pilot script, and we have a script Bible blowing the series out into 24 episodes. And I'm working with Ken and a producer that my co-writer knows, and also a couple of producers in Istanbul, which is Theodora's hometown, used to be Constantinople. So that's that's my take on it. I just don't know how to not turn the page and keep going, and that's always been Ken's advice, and he's never led me wrong. So thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Bob. And you have other things in the works too, and including a teaser, raising money for a teaser for the cloud trilogy.
Yes,
And
I should mention that I forgot to mention that one of the things I decided to do is work with Ken to explore the whole universe of being a producer. So one of the things I did through a very well connected individual I know here in the Atlanta area, Bob Littell, who practices what's called net weaving, which is networking, which benefits other people, whether there's anything coming back to you or not. And he put me in touch with a couple of gentlemen who are venture capitalists, and they read my novel, The Cloud, fell in love with it, and I've been working with them for several months now to locate either a single investor or a group of investors who are willing to invest the budget for us to shoot a 3 to 4 minute teaser because the cloud is such a unique concept that it won't do to simply have Ken do a verbal pitch or even show a pitch book. They need to see what a unique concept it is. And so I just heard from one of my venture capitalists last week that he's got a film investment group he's working with now, and as soon as they close on their uh, present film, he thinks that they're going to be willing to talk turkey with us. And I've learned an enormous amount about venture capitalist investors, how they work. Ken has educated me about the film fund he works on with Howard R. Schuster. He's educated me about how he funds all of his films, about the packaging agent he works with. And by the way, I don't know if Ken has told everybody, but he has a new film that's in Ken, would it be safe to say pre-production? Uh, it's called Gambino,
yeah,
and
Gambino.
yes, and it's going to be directed by John Woo, and it's starring Nicolas Cage and Tim Robbins from Shawshank Redemption fame. And I think they're just waiting to get a few more dollars into the kitty, and I believe they're going to start shooting here in Atlanta. If that was the last word I had. So
That's the plan. Yeah.
that's the plan. So yes, please educate yourself and take advantage of all of the ways that Ken Entity can help you to market, because as Ken has stated in some of his other workshops, the whole industry is going through a paradigm shift, and it's far less about New York publishers who are all owned by four international conglomerates, and it's much more about what's happening on Amazon and about authors taking responsibility for marketing their own books.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's the world is changing while we live in it. And so it's a matter of adaptability and constant resilience and flexibility. And we should recognize that as a positive thing because it gives you great opportunity if you can figure out ways of getting visible. Visibility is what it's all about. And the old ways are disappearing and new ways are occurring all the time. And it's not easy, it's challenging, but it's also massively filled with opportunities. So I urge you to think outside the box and figure out how can I get my project to the attention of as many people as possible, because you never know when one person sees it, that person could make the entire difference for the rest of your life. So it's don't let it sit there on a shelf. Get it out there. If the book is already published, publicize it, figure out ways of marketing it, getting the world to bring their attention to it. And the internet is a device that no one has ever had in history before that allows you to get in front of the people. And yeah, it has lots of downsides to it that we all know, but its upsides are spectacular. And when I first got into the business, I looked at the business and thought, the one constant thing in the business is not how powerful the distributors are, because I watch distributors changing all the time. Video cassettes, for example, used to be a major way of distributing movies, and they lasted for years. But suddenly, overnight, video cassette was gone, and distributors were looking at other ways of distributing. And I thought the constant is the need for stories. Everything else is completely volatile, but you should be assured if you're a storyteller that all you have to do is hang in there until you get your stories recognized. And that's the good news. Next person. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
My pleasure.
Okay. Let's see. I know Diane Wolf, you mentioned over email a few things that you wanted to talk about. I don't know if you wanted to speak. Um, Not sure. Again. Yeah, and I know there's a few new people as well. Would love to hear what you guys have to say.
Well, I always have multiple stories going. And I've been,
You're
pardon?
a prodigy, Diane. I'm amazed that you finished another novel. Just looking forward to reading it.
Well, thank you. Now that I took a hint from you on one of your talks. Well, first of all, I've been developing a series. And the first book of the series is about to be published. So they're all at different stages of development. But what I learned in the creation of my series was that some stories are big overview stories and some are point of view stories. And they're both important for the series. So I got very lucky in the work that I'm doing because there's a tremendous amount of new scholarship being done and it presents a new view of the period I'm working on and it's never been done, it's never been talked about, it's new and it's great. It's just I'm excited about it. So I'm finishing that up, but I had been working on a thriller and it was a big concept. And Ken said something that stuck in my mind, and he said, cut. That's all, one word. I'm a student of Chinese and Japanese languages. The nature of the languages themselves are very, very minimalist, and they survive on imagery, which of course is really important for a book. So I cut this book from a big overview book to a point of view book down to 90 pages. And all of a sudden it took off and I could barely keep up with it. You know, when you, as a writer, get in that frenzy when you forget to eat breakfast and you don't want to take time to make a cup of tea, you just cannot wait to get in there because I want to know where the story's going. So it happened that it worked and I got excited about it. So that's what my latest and again, what Ken just mentioned is so critically important. The world is changing. We're living in a time of tremendous change, and you just have to ride the change. And one of the things, I'm a China watcher, so I watch all the press about different aspects of China. Um, and some new facts came to light that nobody was reporting on because you have to know a lot to report on this stuff. And I thought, well, I've got something new, unique, exciting that nobody's got. So I put that in. And the combination of the unique point of view sharpened my character, it speeded up the pacing, and I could add a little humor in there because thrillers, especially when you're dealing with things like loose nukes, it's a little worrisome, you know. It's a little bit worrisome. So I got the chance to add some humor in and a couple of twists, and I'm very, very pleased with it. So I got all excited, you know, because it's working very well.
Great. Well, the feeling you're having is what writers should be having, and they only have it when they're actually writing. So that's
Right.
why that's why it's so important not to sit on your hands and wait for anything, because you don't get that feeling while you're waiting.
Well, you know what? No, what it is I think it's as simple as it's a job. You do it every day, you know. I treat it like an athlete. I have a certain amount of exercise that I do to keep my back loose because sitting on my behind hurts my back. So I get in the
Sure.
pool and I swim laps until I'm loose as a goose. And then I come in
Excellent.
and then I work. And I work I never, I have to stop myself because I sit too long and then I get stiff. But I do the thing of stopping at a point where I can pick up and run with it. But it's a job, you know, you do it a certain number of hours every day. And if you're lucky, when you get in the zone, it's like being an athlete. You don't, it's not work, it's joy, it's pleasure. You're getting off on the dopamine. I think Robin Williams gave an interview where he said from his many stints in rehab that creative work it releases endorphins in the brain. It is addictive. It can be addictive. So I had to stop myself from sitting such long hours because I was getting so stiff. I could hardly walk and I was too excited to eat. So I don't know. That's why my remedy, whenever anyone says they have a writer's block, my remedy for that is exercise and movement and going outdoors. Take in other environments. Take in, breathe, 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 you know, move, get away
Right.
from
Because
that's
a lot of writing, writing is a tricky word because writing isn't just with your fingers on the keyboard. Writing happens when you're walking in the woods to get away from the
exactly
pressure. Writing happens when you're walking along the ocean. You don't stop writing. Writing requires absence as well as presence. And it's a cycle that I talked about in my book, A Writer's Time, of an engagement and abandonment. So when you abandon your desk and get on a horse and go for a long ride, you're not abandoning your project. You're giving your brain a chance to explore parts of itself that weren't involved when you were at the keyboard. And
right.
some of the greatest discoveries happen when you're far away from your computer.
Not only that, sometimes if you go and you do the ordinary tasks of life with attention, you're standing there and either somebody says something or it comes into your head and there's the line of dialogue or the insight into a scene. You have no idea where it came from. Somebody mentions something, you say, that's it. That's the dialogue I was looking for. There it is. And it's the lady at the cash register at Publix that tells you this, you know. Really,
Right.
or you're sitting on a bus in New York, like you take the buses and take the whatever, and somebody yells something out, or they get into a fight, and you're stealing material from your surroundings.
Yeah. So that's why you have to mix with the world because that's how writing becomes a reflection of reality, is because
Right.
the artist's ears are tuned to the world, not just to their inner voices and not just to history. Because what you're doing when you write in particular is you're bringing history alive, which means, you know, you're bringing it to the attention of people who are living in today's world. And that's why you have to reflect both today and ancient Mongolian realities.
Right. And then there's the other thing that I incorporated into my work is that people are people. These characters are larger than life, they're universal, and the same troubles that trouble you and me, you know, like siblings fighting over a throne. Who does daddy love more? Can Diane give up being daddy's girl in order to become her own person? You know, it's like, okay, well, I'm pleasing daddy over here, but if I please myself, I'm going to go over here and do this. And I want my character to take the risks of that break because suddenly it's her guts that are on the line and daddy's not going to be there to protect her. she's going to have to be the one who kicks ass. Can you kick ass? Well, try it. And then when you cut, that's the other thing. When I cut, I when I was married, my ex-husband made a long-term study of all the classical poetry that's in the Tale of Genji. It's a form called the waka. It's not a haiku, it's a waka. And
Mhm.
from him learning how to translate that stuff and minimalize it, when you minimalize it, you cut to the basics, all of a sudden it starts singing. You don't realize that. A lot of people think, oh, I wrote that beautiful line or that beautiful bit of dialogue and now I'm going to lose it. No, when you cut it, all of a sudden it gets electric and it starts
Yeah,
moving. And then you know.
that's why I've always said that there are 10 rules for editing. 9 of them are cut.
Right. It's well, I've had a very famous editor who was very kind and good to me, and he published my first book, and he offered me other books, and he was apologizing for asking me to cut, and I said, Hugh, don't apologize. I never mind cutting because I know it gets better. So I'm like the only one who never clings to oh my God, that's so good. You're asking me to, I don't think
Yeah,
it's
when you cut something, its shadow, its ghost remains in the story, and the
exactly.
audience understands it and feels for it. In fact, it's really what compels the audience to keep reading, because the sense of something missing keeps the audience attention on what's in front of them. It's how we really relate to a story, by what's missing from the story, what's not said. The cuts that you made uh, end up bringing us into it, and so you can't underestimate the power of cutting. I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, the thing that happens is it creates a resonance. That's the way that poetry works. It creates a resonance in the reader or the viewer, and they feel like they're supplying something, so they get attached to what you're doing. They feel
Right,
like in other words, I get out of the way and let them enter the story.
right. Getting out of the way is what many great writers have said: is get out of the way of your story, because the minute you're in the way, it interrupts the story. And so that's all good stuff. Keep up the good work, Diane.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Cut, cut, cut.
Yeah,
Thank
Charlotte.
you. Hey, we have one more. I know Abdur, I know you're a new person, so I will let you go if you still have anything.
Hello. Hi, Doc. How are you? It's been a
Good. How are
long
you
time.
doing?
Not bad,
Where
not bad.
where are you, Abdur?
I'm in Virginia currently.
Virginia?
Yep. Yes, that's
Right?
right. It's been a long time since we've spoken. I know I first last time was like maybe 2019, 20.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I just wanted to say hi, hello. You're looking well. I'm excited for your projects coming up. I can't wait. Now that I heard that you got a film in the mix. Yeah, so that's it. I just wanted to say hi,
Well, thank you.
sir.
I appreciate it. Thanks for coming to the webinar.
I missed the last one and the one before that, I think, or was just the last one. Um, so yeah, I'm just happy to be here today.
Well, thank you. Charlotte, they're available on our website, or where are they available?
Yes, we have, yeah, if you register for any of our previous webinars, I'm not sure exactly where they are, but I can definitely send a link of all the webinars
Please.
so far. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lily, maybe you can weigh in on how can people watch previous ones.
Oh, yes. Let me find her. I don't know. Yeah, Lily, I don't know if you know.
Maybe
Um,
she's not still here.
Yeah.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
believe there's a blog posted for each one, so they could find them quickly on the blog, and then yeah, we could send out a follow-up email with those direct links.
Great.
Hey,
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you, both of you. But yeah, we should, yeah. Oh, I see Gail is here. I
Hey, Gail, we're working on your book. It's looking good, and I can't wait to see it out.
let me,
Gail is
Hey,
also
can
a
you hear
mon
me?
yeah,
yes.
Go ahead, I interrupted you.
yeah. Gail is also a Mongolian guru, and we really should connect Gail with Diane because I'm sure you guys have you met yet?
I believe
No, no, we haven't met, but I think we both have a lot of great stories to share about Mongolia. I'm not sure how many times she's been there or what her involvement is, but it sounds like someone who's done an incredible amount of work with the Mongolian people and their history. But I just, my hand raising was that I just wanted to say thank you for all the people who have said all the different things today, because I just started working with Ken, and everything that everyone said, it makes me so much more excited about the project, and also about the fact that just the waiting times, these all these different things that come out, these little pieces of information that just really hit home for me. So I just want to give you feedback how valuable this 1 hour you've been doing each month. From the first one that I came to was then I decided I got to sign up with you till this one. I just am just really thrilled you're doing this, and I find it very supportive and wonderful. And I should have a whole bunch of stuff I'm going to be sending you this week. So I just want to say thank you, Ken, and your group, and also the people that you've worked with for giving their feedback.
Well, you're welcome, Gail, and it's been a pleasure to work with you. I've known you for years, and I've been telling you for years that your story has got to get out there. So I'm excited to see it finally making the move, and it'll be out in the next few months, and then everybody can read it.
Well, and
So,
I'm also excited to hear that the things I've been doing, that I think it was Diane or whoever was talking about how saying she goes on podcasts, she's doing all these things to get her book out. I have all these people who've said to me, well, we'd love to have you back on our show again as soon as you have your book out. So I just feel like I've done a good little bit of groundwork. So I'm giving myself a little pat on the back that my internet presence and my podcast that I've been doing for almost 5 years, that these things will now support the book when we release it.
yeah, her podcast is called Small, Medium, at Large, right?
Yes, and the same title for the book unless we change it.
Yeah. Right. So hopefully everybody will take a look at listen to the podcast and then be ready to read the book when it comes out.
And also the other thing you said, that other little bit of wisdom that you don't know, and that's how I've always felt my book will get to Netflix, is that one person where you'd have no idea where it's going to be is going to see that or read that book, and that will truly spark the next part of the journey that the book is to go on. And I really believe that full-heartedly. So I wanted to thank you for that little piece of wisdom as well.
Yeah, it's really true that you know people say it's not luck that succeeds, but work. But the more you work, the luckier you get. And serendipity really can't do its job unless you're visible. Um,
Exactly.
and all it takes is one spark, and everything changes. So that's why I always encourage people to never stop, never stop. The ancient farmer Hesiod said, if you put a little upon a little, soon it becomes a lot. And that's always been my philosophy, is just to continue working, because you never know. I'm having lunch with somebody after this webinar today who we met through sheer serendipity, and now we're doing a movie together. So never give up on that. Never give up. And sooner or later, luck gets up off its ass and helps you. But It's not motivated to do that until it sees you out there all the time. And sooner or later, it starts grumbling to itself, geez, maybe I better do something. So I highly encourage you guys to always continue, and we'll look forward to doing this again next month. All right, Charlotte?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Gail, and thank you everyone else who arrived and yeah, who was able to speak today or just listen. Thank you so much. Yeah, we should have another webinar next month, just to keep it up. But yeah, there's going to be a link with this webinar to download. Through a blog post as well as an email from Zoom as well as our mailing list. And yeah, we should be able to send out the previous webinars for anyone who was not able to join us the last few times. But yeah, and also thank you again, for the technical difficulties. We're working with this new format, but yeah, I like being able to talk to everyone. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll do that next time.
And by the way, Patricia, we haven't forgotten about you. Please send your phone number again, because I've tried it several times and it hasn't gone through. So email it to Charlotte and me again. So thanks, everybody. Talk to you next month.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.